uh, of the intelligence of the universe that's ever existed.
So would you relate it to consciousness? Would
Oh,
you
yeah,
think
absolutely. I mean, consciousness is a function, I believe, of how many mitochondria you have in your body. And do I think consciousness have different levels? Like the consciousness of humans is radically different than it is of chimps, gorillas, or salamanders. But isn't this tree also conscious? Yeah, people don't realize plants actually have mitochondria. They just don't have enough so that they can sit and talk to you and have a podcast with you. Okay, but we do. Do I think light is related to consciousness? Yes, it's the medium of the message, but you need a quantum nano machine in order to be conscious. And that's effectively what a mitochondria is.
do you believe in a creator?
Uh, I will answer that question very simply. Go listen to my webinar that I did, and the provocative title is God light? Is light God? I believe what's in Genesis from 1:1 to 1:15. That's when the creator told you it's all about light. There's only one key thing he didn't tell you what the fucking recipe was. And guess what? That's why I'm on the planet. I'm on the planet because I've decided to go after that recipe. And I'm still warming up, brother.
Can you explain how there's light within us? You've done it many times, but I'm just trying to understand how coal generates light or different things generate light within the body.
Well, the easiest way for you to see that I'm not batshit crazy is go buy yourself a FLIR infrared camera and shine it at your friend's face and ask him to talk. Why? And then pull the camera away. Why is it that you can see his light signature on the infrared camera, but you can't see it with your eyes? Because your retina is blind to it. You also can't see the UV biophotons are released for the same reason, because your eye is blind to it. You know why your eye is blind to it? Something called the quantum Zeno effect. So it goes all the way back to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics. If an observer is able to see that light cannot do the things that it does. So guess what? Light that we're blinded to actually is the magic's going on inside us. And a FLIR infrared camera shows you that you're emitting light left and right. If you really get fancy and buy a photomultiplier, you'll see all the different frequencies that we emit. When you drop somebody in cold water, you'll see the light frequency change again. When you put somebody in sun, you'll see the light frequency change again. But you know what nobody's asking, my friend? No one's asking scientists, why does this in fact happen? What are we missing? And I'll tell you what we're missing. Big Pharma doesn't want any of this stuff to be discovered. Why? Because then you're going to find out that light is a drug equivalent and that you have no need for Big Pharma.
And 5G modern technology interferes with this process, interferes with our natural.
5G is light, my friend. Use it by the appropriate term. It's a part of the electromagnetic spectrum that life does not use, but man has decided to use it for communication without proper testing. Isn't that sound just like messenger RNA technology? Isn't that exactly what the government did? Oh, well, let's just use 5G to have people have faster Netflix download speeds, but we've never checked the biologic impacts. Why? Because around Becker's time, we said that EMF doesn't have a biologic effect. That's the position of the government through DARPA since 1973. And we know that's a fucking joke.
You think
and that was codified, just so you know, that was codified by a federal regulator in the FCC in 1996. That's exactly what the Chevron doctrine overturned. We need to go back to that law and see the assumptions that were made in 1996 by Billy Tozan before he left the Republican Party and went to work for the Cell Tower Association. Now his son runs that place. That's how this all links, my friend. 5G, 3G, 4G, those are aspects of light that we're not designed to use, but we do. That means there's evolutionary pitfalls for us. Those are called diseases.
Dr. Kruse, while I have you here, I have a couple other questions I'd like to ask you. And one is the first time I reached out to you was on Patreon. As you know, I'm a hypnotherapist, and you had brought to my attention TDCS and TMS. And I just was wondering how that came across your radar and what made you think that of the connection between that and hypnotherapy.
TBIs. And it goes all the way back to Becker's work. Becker did a lot of work on acupuncture, but he also did a lot of work on magnetism, where he's able to put salamanders to sleep when he was doing his limb regeneration studies. And he realized that magnetic effects had huge impacts on mitochondrial function and neurologic function. and he realized that there was an electric side to the story and there was a magnetic side. He spent most of his career until he died in 2008 focusing on the electric side and not on the magnetic side. I'm focusing on both sides. And it turns out both of those therapies, those are dealing with the magnetic part. And remember what we call light waves, my friend, electromagnetic waves. Two parts of the story.
Really interesting. And do you think that hypnotherapy could play a role in decentralized mental wellness?
Yeah, it could, but the bottom line, really, with mental illness, it comes down not only to
or wellness, mental wellness.
Yeah, but I mean, I tell you, wellness or illness. I mean, just think about it. One is the subtraction of the other, if you really look at it. And do I think that you have to understand how both electric and magnetic flux is controlled in cells so that your frontal lobes are really good? Yeah. I mean, I try to bring that story through Rick's podcast with Huberman through POMC. Some of the chemicals that are cleaved from that gene POMC that's made from UV light actually affect some of these magnetic chemicals, that are rapidly involved in, say, ADHD, cyclothymia, bipolar depression. And that's the reason why one of the other chemicals in there is called beta endorphin. You're designed by evolution or nature, whatever you believe, to be addicted to the sun. It's the reason I'm sitting in the sun doing this podcast with you.
Mm-hmm.
When people see the connections themselves, they're going to say, this guy really is in tinfoil hat. He's actually trying to get us to see something that's staring us right in the face. And the reason we don't know about it is because the people in power of science are blocking us from it. They want to sell us sunglasses and sunscreen to keep us dumbed down. They want to give us cheap food on factory farms because this lowers our melatonin and dopamine. So we stay low agency and we never ask questions. It's like that George Carlin skit. You're a reporter, so I know you know that skit. You go back and listen to that skit, what he says. He says, this is all done by design and you're not part of the club. He goes, it's a big fucking club, but you ain't in it.
Right.
Dude, this is comedic genius. Why? Because he took something deadly serious, made a joke of it, and guess what? You're living through it right now.
As a neurosurgeon, how important, and it could not be related at all, but I want to get your take on it. How important is the subconscious mind in creating our reality?
I think it's important. I would tell you there's more bits. And when I say bits, I'm talking about electromagnetic bits, quantum dots in the subconscious mind than the conscious mind. And I'm going to tell you that we evolved wakefulness. The primordial state is the subconscious state. In order to move through the environment, we had to evolve consciousness. So do I think subconsciousness and what realms are present there? Because I do believe that is truly the realm of quantum mechanics and probabilities. I think it's extremely important. The difference is we in the conscious world make sense out of that chaos.